Hello there and welcome to this Biology Mind A-Level tutorial on polysaccharides. So in our last lesson we learned that a monosaccharide is an example of a monomer and that monosaccharides can be used to make polymers called carbohydrates. So today we're going to have a look at polysaccharides, we're going to look at how we form them and how we break them, and we'll also have a look at a few different types of polysaccharides. So let's get cracking. So first of all, let's think about how we form polysaccharides. So polysaccharides are complex carbohydrates. So we've met that our basic unit of our carbohydrate or our basic unit of our polysaccharide is our monosaccharide. So that's what these are over here. These are all our monosaccharides. Remember, mono for one. And many monosaccharides join together in a condensation reaction to form a polysaccharide. So the example we've given here is starch. Starch is a polysaccharide. And remember, in a condensation reaction, we're always forming water. I've banged on about this in previous tutorials because it's really important. So we're always getting that plus H2O. Sorry, that arrow was horrendous there. So in a condensation reaction, we're always going to form water. Okay, so that's how we form our polysaccharides. Now, when we form these polysaccharides, we make bonds called glycosidic bonds, and these form between our monosaccharides, which join together. So these are our glycosidic bonds here. And we always form water, remember. And polysaccharides can be broken down into disaccharides or constituent monosaccharides via hydrolysis reaction. Now remember, a hydrolysis reaction is essentially the opposite of a condensation reaction. So when we do a hydrolysis reaction, we're always going to have to add water to our reagent, so our starch, and that's going to allow it to break down into the individual monosaccharides. So in a condensation reaction, we're always forming water, but when we break down a polysaccharide, we are breaking down those glycosidic bonds and forming these monosaccharides in turn. So it's the reverse process, essentially. Okay, so remember, we've joined together, these are all our monosaccharides here. These are our glycosidic bonds. And we've joined these together in a process of condensation. That's our reaction, a condensation reaction. Therefore, we've also produced water. And as a result, we get this lovely chain of polysaccharides. And a way that we note this down is we draw out the units of monosaccharides and we put a bracket around the final one and write the letter N, because there's an N number of monosaccharides that make up this polysaccharide, whether it's 5 monomers of beta-glucose or 20 or 2000. So N denotes how many of these how many monosaccharide units are used to form our total polysaccharide. Okay, so there are different types of polysaccharides, and let's have a think about them. So glycogen is an example of a polysaccharide, also cellulose and starch. So glycogen is a branched polymer made from many alpha-glucose monomer units. So we say it's branched because you see that there are branches coming off, like this. But it's essentially lots of alpha-glucose monomer units joined together. Whereas starch is a polymer made from many also alpha-glucose monomer units, but is either branched or non-branched. So for example, amylose is not branched, but amylopectin is a branched alpha-glucose chain of polymers. Now, cellulose, on the other hand, is made from a different isomer of glucose. So remember, one isomer of glucose is alpha-glucose, and the second isomer is beta-glucose. And cellulose is made from many non-branched beta-glucose monomer units. So you can see that depicted here. So lots of beta-glucose joined together in those condensation reactions, forming the glycosidic bonds between each individual monosaccharide to form the polysaccharide. So here we go, this is just a really nice summary for you. You can see that glycogen, amylopectin and amylose are all formed from alpha-glucose, whereas cellulose is formed from beta-glucose monosaccharides. So this is the importance of these different isomers of glucose. Remember, they have the same chemical formula, but a different structural arrangement in space. But this means that they can make different polymers overall. So well done for following through till the end. That's lesson 5 complete, and I'll see you for the next tutorial.